What's up, everybody? Today, we're going to be talking about why real estate investors are switching from wholesaling to wraps in 2025. Let's begin. Imagine two real estate investors. Both started wholesaling the same month, making around $10,000 per deal. The first kept wholesaling, and 5 years later, he's still chasing that next deal, still stressed out marketing budgets, still trading time for money, still dealing with traumatized sellers on the phone, calling them all the time, still trying to figure out the next marketing channel that will work. The second one switched to wraps after the first year. Today, he owns 60 plus properties, generating over $30,000 per month, travels the world, runs his business remotely, and is living life on his own terms. The difference is one learned that the smartest wholesalers aren't wholesaling anymore. They're building wealth through wraparound mortgages, lease options, other types of exit strategies. If you're still wholesaling every deal, you're leaving life-changing money on the table. I know what many of you are thinking right now. Phil, I barely know how to wholesale consistently. Now you're telling me to complicate things with wraps. And I get it. When I first heard about seller financing, when I first heard about everything, I was of the mindset of one thing, focus on one thing. And we did that well. But by focusing on one thing for too long, if that one thing is not the right thing that's going to get you to where you want to go, then something needs to shift. I was making decent money wholesaling. I didn't think that I needed to fix what wasn't broken until I reached a point of burnout when I had money coming in and then all that money would just be depleted. When every single deal felt like I was on the battlefields in war to get to the finish line, dealing with water liens and sellers that wanted to back out and buyers that were cutting us out, and doing all of this to make chump change. And every single month I had to start over from zero. I don't believe that wholesaling is broken. I just believe that wholesaling is not complete. It's the elementary school of real estate. There's a whole world of wealth building that opens up when you graduate to middle school, high school, and eventually college. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Philip Loudon. 5 years ago, I knew so little about real estate. I didn't know the word mortgage meant. I didn't know what an HVAC was. I didn't know the components of a house. And this is why I got into wholesaling, so I can figure that stuff out and get paid while I was learning the components of the house, how to structure this type of business, and the 101 of real estate. Over the past 5 years, my partners and I have done over 200 real estate transactions. We started as wholesalers, just like many of you. We've now built over $13 million portfolio, and we've done all of that through selling houses on wraparound mortgages, long-term lease options, contract for deed, and on seller financing. So as wholesalers, we learned the ropes, we built systems, we hired teams, we scaled up to multiple deals a month. We thought we had it figured out, but there was no end game. As we grew the business, we got more employees, more overhead, more marketing expenses. We were texting thousands of people every day, going through lists, high equity lists, getting lower value leads, and just calling. We had the whole system built out, and we would build up $60,000 in reserves. 1 month would go by reserves, right? After we pay ourselves salaries, after we pay our team, after we pay the overhead, the money would dwindle away and we weren't building any actual wealth. So today I want to share how we went from wholesalers to buy and hold investors. Just like many of you, I didn't want to spread myself too thin. I wanted to focus on one thing, do it really well. It wasn't until wraps and lease options fell into our lap that we really started to realize the power of it. So let me show you the math that every wholesaler needs to see. Imagine you're a successful wholesaler making $10,000 per deal, closing 2 deals per month. That's $20,000 monthly, $240,000 per year. So here's what that actually looks like. 50-hour weeks, constantly marketing, constantly on the phone, dealing with fires, trying to get deals to the finish line, transaction coordination at the last minute, title issues, searching down deceased owners, and trying to find people to sign affidavits of heirship. You're managing a team, and at the end of the year, you have $240,000 of income, but you have tons of overhead, no assets. Now let's look at the same deals as wraps. You have the same property you could wholesale for a $10,000 fee, but when you wrap it, here's what happens. You get $15,000 to $20,000 as a down payment, more than your wholesale fee. Oftentimes you can figure out how to still make your wholesale fee while simultaneously holding on to properties as well, so you can get that long-term wealth as well. And if you look through some of my YouTube series, I do analyses of our old wholesale deals. And my goal is always, how can I make that same wholesale and keep the asset? And we talk about creative structuring, so check out some of those videos. Also, if you're enjoying this, subscribe to our channel, give comments. We do live calls very often. We do underwriting calls because you have to learn how to shift your mind from being transactional and learn how your buy and hold, your end buyers are focusing on real estate so that you can get out of that elementary school level of real estate. So $15,000 to $20,000 is a down payment. ideally more than your wholesale fee. You can generate $400 to $1,200 per month in passive residual income. That's $4,800 to $12,000 per year of passive residual income. And over 7 years, you'll profit $100,000 to $150,000 per deal. So instead of making $10,000 once, you make over $100,000, $150,000 over time, and you own the asset. Do this 10 times, you have tier one financial freedom. That is our goal. That's the goal of our channel. Gets you to tier one financial freedom. So I hear the objections coming, right? What is a wrap? Wrap is when you sell or finance a property to a family. We get financing in place. There's different ways to put financing in place. The easiest one is to buy with sub 2 or on seller financing. And then we then seller finance the house to somebody else, creating a wraparound mortgage. The mortgage goes around the other mortgage. We have a whole Wraps 101 series. If you're interested, look through the YouTube. We have a series on Wraps 101 where we break down the core fundamentals of wraps. The idea is that there's tons of first generation Americans, lots of entrepreneurs who want to buy houses. The banks won't finance them. They are hungry for deals. And the banks are stuck in their traditional way of operating. They have a standard product. They don't open up other products for these demographics. Fastest growing demographic in the United States, tons of first generation Americans, tons of entrepreneurs. They want to buy. They don't have inventory. We provide inventory. They're willing to pay a premium on those deals. We collect cash flow without a capital expenditure. Imagine $1,000 a month coming in from one deal. No CapEx. We're not dealing with any need for vacancy, for them calling us in the middle of the night. They have ownership mindset, very passive once you set up. So what's the big gap here? The gap's going to be finding the buyers. We have other series about finding buyers, but the gap's going to be, you already know how to get the deal locked in. Now, how can I go get a family in there and then 10x the lifetime value of my product? Objections coming, right? I don't have money to buy the houses. Neither did we. When we first did our first wrap deal, we had a several $1,000s down subject to deal. We did a double close. We found the buyer, brought them in. At closing, that buyer brought us $60,000 and we put $3,000 down. We netted a lot on that first deal. So you don't necessarily need to have a bunch of money to start the strategy if you know how to lock up deals properly. Wraps are too complicated. Wholesaling is way more complicated. You already know wholesaling, you need to do lead generation, have a follow-up specialist, have a CRM, manage a team, understand how to negotiate, understand how to structure the deals, have the buyers in place, have the transaction coordination go to the very end. All of that is complicated. We teach you a few more pieces so that you can start actually buying and holding onto assets and getting yourself breathing room. I don't know what a good wrap is. This is another one that we hear all the time. And that's why we give you information to break down what properties make a good wrap. Here's how you can transition and start adding buy and holds as a wholesaler. I was there. I get it. I know you want to focus on what you're doing, focus on what you're good at. This is how you can start transitioning and start adding this in. So the first 1 to 2 months, you learn as you earn. You really focus in on learning how to underwrite deals. We have a free underwriting tool in the comments here, how to underwrite these deals, how to identify these deals. Because once you begin understanding how to underwrite, identify, and knowing what these types of deals look like, then you start seeing opportunities where you didn't see opportunities otherwise. As you start to do this, you get better at wholesaling because you're thinking like an end buyer. It makes negotiation a lot easier. It makes knowing what you can lock up properties for a lot easier. And it also makes marketing these properties for an end buyer a lot easier as well. So we learn underwriting, we learn how to structure the deals, we learn what a good deal looks like. That's the first 1 to 2 months. 3 to 4, you test the strategy, take one deal, small wholesale fee, and try structuring. You partner with someone such as myself. You do a JV with someone such as me who knows how to do this. You bring them the deal, we do the deal together, and now you get one under the belt and you get to see the entire process. Then the next step is do it again. Because once you do 3, 4, 5 of these by yourself, you now have seen the process over and over again. At that point, we build your systems and we scale strategically. We start by converting one property per month into a wrap deal. One of our students, Jacob, has done one property per month for 25 months. And he has tier one financial freedom. He would never have to work again as long as these notes are performing. Right now, you have a choice. You can stay a wholesaler and be in that grind forever. Most wholesalers don't succeed past 5 years. The vast majority fail in the first year. And then the ones that succeed the first 5 years is even smaller. 90% drop off, 90% drop off again. So you can keep doing wholesaling, keep starting over and see what happens in 5 years. See if you have burnout or if you're really starting to feel like, okay, I've made it. I've scaled a wholesaling operation. Path 2 is you start becoming a wealth builder. You start viewing deals as assets, not transactions. You do the wholesaling to build active income so that you can hold on to properties. You start building residuals, you start building wealth, and you start actually building a portfolio that serves you. Once again, this is not about abandoning wholesaling entirely, but you do have to ask yourself, am I thinking like someone who trades time for money, or am I somebody who builds wealth? Because wealth is built when you make money while you sleep. And it is very rare you make money while you sleep, while you're wholesaling. And keep in mind that the investors making the switch are not smarter than you. They just decided that their future lives, their future selves deserve better than being trapped in a hamster wheel. If you're ready to start thinking like a wealth builder, I built out a free training below that you can access in our school. Click on the link, join, reach out to me. If you're like, I want to double down the strategy, book a sales strategy call with me. We can talk about what it looks like to work together and see how we can help you get to that next level. But if you leave with nothing else from this video, just leave knowing that there is a better possibility there waiting for you. You've already done so much of the hard work. So give yourself a pat on the back for being a wholesaler, for doing deals. If you've ever done a deal, you're so much further than most people. If you haven't done a deal, get that first deal in. Do whatever it takes to get that first deal in. You're not ready to transition to strategy if you've never done a deal. You need to have done your first deal so that you can then get to a strategy like this. If you've never had a deal and you're ready to commit, join our preschool community, take action, get those first wins, and start understanding. Just remember, you didn't get into real estate to trade one job for another. You got into real estate to build wealth, and wraps are how you make that dream into a reality. Until next time, ciao.